There's a good chance you already know which one you are. You're the person who walks outside on a warm evening and within minutes you're slapping at your arms, your ankles, the back of your neck, while everyone around you stands there completely untouched, sipping their drinks, asking what all the fuss is about. You're the one who comes home from a single backyard barbecue looking like you've contracted a tropical disease, covered head to toe in welts that itch for days, while your friend who sat in the exact same chair doesn't have a single bite. You've probably blamed your blood. You've probably blamed your luck. You've probably been told it's just in your head. It isn't. Science has confirmed that mosquitoes genuinely prefer some people over others, and the reason they've been hunting you specifically your entire life is not your imagination, not your perfume, and not bad luck. It's written into you. It's coded in your DNA, in a handful of microscopic letters you inherited from your parents, and that code has been calling out to these insects since before you were born. For the first time, scientists have actually located those letters, and what they reveal is an ancient link between your bloodline and the deadliest creature that has ever lived. Let's decode it. Let's start with the thing you've suspected your whole life and never had proof for. It really is you. For decades, this was treated as folklore, the kind of thing people complained about around a campfire while everyone nodded and nobody actually believed it mattered. Surely a mosquito just bites whoever's closest, whoever's exposed, whoever happens to be standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Surely it's random. Except it isn't random at all, and researchers have now demonstrated this under controlled laboratory conditions in a way that's almost insultingly clear. Scientists can place a person near a chamber full of mosquitoes, release the insects, and simply watch which direction they fly. Sometimes, nearly every single mosquito in the chamber will abandon all other options and stream toward one specific human, like filings toward a magnet, ignoring everything else on offer. Other times that same swarm will show almost no interest at all. The difference isn't the weather, isn't the time of day, isn't how much skin you're showing. The difference is you. And here's the part that should genuinely change how you think about it. A meaningful chunk of that difference comes down to your genetics. Your attractiveness to mosquitoes is heritable, passed down through families like eye color or height, baked into you before you ever took your first breath. Some estimates put the genetic influence on roughly the same level as the heritability of height or IQ, which is to say, it is not a minor footnote, it is a major, measurable force. So when you stand in a group and watch every mosquito make a beeline for your arm, you're not unlucky, and you're not imagining it. You are, in a very literal and very ancient sense, the chosen one. The only question left is what, exactly, your body is broadcasting that the others' bodies aren't. To answer that, scientists had to do something clever with a tube, some twins, and 16,000 tubes of human spit. Before we go further, one thing deserves clearing up, because it changes the whole picture. The mosquito that's been tormenting you your entire life has never once been a male. Male mosquitoes don't bite. They can't, not in the way you're thinking, and they have absolutely no interest in your blood. Instead, they live out their short lives as committed vegans, drifting from flower to flower, sipping nectar and plant juices, harming nothing, bothering no one, the gentle yoga retreat attendees of the insect world. You could stand in a cloud of male mosquitoes and walk away without a mark. So if every itchy welt you've ever scratched came from a female, the obvious question is why? Why does she need you specifically, and why does she need your blood? The answer is motherhood. Before a female mosquito can produce a batch of eggs, she requires proteins that simply do not exist in nectar, proteins she can only obtain from the blood of an animal. So she finds a host, drives in her needle-thin proboscis, and drinks until she has what she needs to develop her brood. Then she lays her eggs in standing water, and the cycle begins again. And it begins fast. The eggs hatch into wriggling larvae, the larvae become pupa, and the pupa become flying, biting adults, with the entire transformation from egg to airborne adult taking only about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That means a single patch of forgotten water in a backyard, a clogged gutter, an old bucket left out in the rain, can become a fully operational mosquito factory before the month is out. Every bite she takes is in service of the next generation, and the next generation is already on its way before your bite has even stopped itching. It's relentless. It's efficient. And it's driven entirely by one biological demand for the protein flowing just beneath your skin. The female isn't cruel, she's a mother. That's somehow worse. So how do you actually prove that something as strange as mosquito attractiveness is written in your genes, and not just down to your diet, your soap, or where you happen to grow up? You turn to twins. Twins are a geneticist's favorite tool because they let you separate nature from nurture with surgical precision. Identical twins share essentially all of their DNA. Fraternal twins share only about half, no more than any other pair of siblings. But crucially, both kinds of twins, raised together, tend to share the same environment, the same household, often a similar diet. So if a trait shows up more reliably in identical twins than in fraternal ones, the difference is pointing straight at the genes. Researchers built exactly this experiment. They recruited pairs of female twins, both identical and fraternal, and put them to the test using a clever device called a Y-tube. Picture a tube that splits into two arms, with a gentle draft of air flowing through it and a chamber of hungry mosquitoes waiting at the fork. A person places a hand into one arm, and the scientists simply count what fraction of the mosquitoes choose to fly toward that hand, rather than the empty arm. The more mosquitoes commit to you, the more attractive you are. Test enough twins this way, and a pattern emerges. The mosquito attractiveness of twins turned out to be correlated, meaning if mosquitoes loved one twin, they tended to love the other. On its own, that's not shocking, since twins share so much else. But here's the decisive part. The correlation was noticeably stronger for identical twins than for fraternal twins. That gap is the fingerprint of genetics. Since the only thing identical twins share more of than fraternal twins is their DNA, the extra similarity in how mosquitoes treated them had to be coming from their genes. The campfire folklore was suddenly hard science. Your blood really does carry a coded invitation. The next step was to find the exact letters that spell it out. Knowing genetics plays a role is one thing. Pinpointing the actual letters of DNA responsible is another challenge entirely, and pulling it off required an enormous crowd of volunteers and a lot of spit. This is where a genetics company called 23andMe enters the story. When people sign up to have their DNA read, they can choose to opt into research, donating their genetic information to studies alongside answers about themselves. For one particular study, around 16,000 people did exactly that, spitting into tubes, shipping off their DNA, and rating how attractive they believed they were to mosquitoes. With that mountain of data, scientists ran what's called a genome-wide association study. The idea is beautifully simple, even if the math behind it isn't. You take all the DNA from everyone who said mosquitoes love them, all the DNA from everyone who said mosquitoes leave them alone, and you scan for differences. You're hunting for spots in the genetic code that consistently show up one way in the bitten and another way in the spared. After combing through all of it, the researchers landed on 7 specific locations. 7 single-letter changes scattered across human DNA, each one associated with being more or less appealing to a mosquito. 7 tiny typos in a 3 billion-letter book, and yet they help decide whether your summer is peaceful or a nightmare of scratching. Before I show you the last part, if you've ever looked at your own results and wondered where your attractiveness to mosquitoes fits into your bloodline, I put it all together in a guide called Where Do You Really Come From? Link is in the description. But stay right here, because what comes next is the part most people completely miss. Because identifying 7 locations is only the beginning. The truly fascinating question isn't where these markers sit in your genome. It's what they actually do. What invisible signal they cause your body to leak into the air that turns you into a beacon. And the answer is a chemical broadcast you can't see, can't smell, and have been transmitting your entire life. So what do those genetic markers actually change about you? Almost certainly, they change what you smell like, not to other people, but to a mosquito's astonishingly sensitive antennae. Because a mosquito doesn't really see you the way you imagine. It tracks you by scent. Following an invisible plume of chemicals your body pumps into the air with every breath and every drop of sweat. The loudest signal of all is carbon dioxide. Every single time you exhale, you release a cloud of it, and to a mosquito, that cloud is a dinner bell ringing across the yard. This is why some people are simply easier to find than others. If you have a higher metabolism, if you're a larger person, if you've just been exercising, or if you're pregnant, you produce more carbon dioxide and more body heat, and you light up like a billboard. But carbon dioxide is only the start. Your skin and sweat give off other volatile compounds that mosquitoes home in on, things like lactic acid, the very acid that builds up in your muscles when you move, along with acetone and ammonia. The more of these you broadcast, the more irresistible you become. And here's the genuinely surprising twist. Your body also produces chemicals that seem to do the opposite, compounds that repel mosquitoes or jam their ability to locate you at all. Scientists have identified several of these natural defenses, including octanal, nonanal, decanal, and one with the unwieldy name 6-methyl-5-heptane-2-1. Some lucky people simply give off more of these masking chemicals, effectively wearing a cloak of invisibility they did nothing to earn. A huge part of the equation comes down to the microbiome, the unique community of bacteria living on your skin, which transforms your sweat into your own personal chemical signature. So whether you're a beacon or a ghost isn't really up to you. It's the combination of your genes, your metabolism, and the invisible ecosystem on your skin, all conspiring to decide how loudly your body calls out into the dark. It would be easy to treat all of this as a quirky inconvenience, a summertime annoyance worth a few scratches and a complaint. It is not. The mosquito is, by a wide and grim margin, the deadliest animal that has ever existed. And the reason it matters so much who gets bitten is that every bite is a potential delivery of something far worse than an itch. Because mosquitoes don't just take blood, they move from host to host, and microscopic traces of one victim's blood ride along inside that needle-like proboscis straight into the next person. That makes the mosquito the single most efficient disease vector on the planet, the world's busiest courier of infection. The headline killer is malaria, a parasite that has stalked humanity for thousands of years and still infects on the order of 200 million people every year, killing hundreds of thousands of them, many of them children. And malaria is only one item on the menu, alongside dengue, yellow fever, Zika, West Nile, and more. Add it all together and mosquito-borne illness claims well over 1 million human lives every single year. Sit with that number. There is a claim, often repeated, that mosquitoes may have killed as many as half of all the human beings who have ever lived. Scientists who study this now consider that figure almost certainly too high, an estimate that's been challenged and walked back. But here's the sobering part. Even after you strip away the exaggeration, even at a fraction of that, you're still left with a creature that has likely killed more people than any other single cause in human history. More than war, more than any other animal, by an enormous margin, including ourselves. As one mosquito researcher put it plainly, malaria has killed more people than people have killed people. That's the real stakes hiding behind the question of why mosquitoes prefer you. It was never really about the itch. It was always about which humans this ancient predator decides to visit first. Here is where the story turns from unsettling to almost unbelievable, because the link between your blood and this insect runs deeper and older than a few inherited genes. The mosquito and the diseases it carries have been evolving alongside us for so long that they have learned to manipulate us, to reach into our biology and rewrite the signal we send. Consider what malaria actually does once it's inside you. You would assume a parasite would want to hide, to keep its host quiet and undetectable. Malaria does the opposite. When the malaria parasite infects a human, it changes that person's body chemistry so that they begin producing an odor more attractive to mosquitoes. Read that again? The parasite makes its host smell more delicious to the very insect that spreads the parasite. It is essentially hijacking your scent to summon its own getaway vehicle, turning an infected person into bait so the next mosquito that bites will pick up the infection and carry it onward to someone new. That is not an accident. That is millions of years of evolution sharpening a strategy of staggering, ruthless elegance. And it raises a haunting question that even the experts pause over. If parasites evolved to make us more attractive to mosquitoes, did we, in turn, evolve to fight back? Is it possible that the people who naturally smell wrong to mosquitoes, who give off those masking chemicals and carry those protective genetic letters, are carrying an ancient adaptation, a defense bred into our species over countless generations of survival against a relentless killer? We can't say for certain, but it would mean that the reason your friend never gets bitten isn't luck at all. It's an inheritance, a faint genetic echo of ancestors who survived because mosquitoes overlooked them. This is the ancient blood link. The pull between you and this insect was written long before you were born, in a war older than history itself. So the next time you're standing in a group, swatting at your arms while everyone around you stands serene and untouched, remember what's actually happening. You're not unlucky. You're not imagining it. Your body is broadcasting a signal it has been sending since the day you were born. A chemical message woven from your genes, your metabolism, and the invisible ecosystem of bacteria living on your skin. A handful of single letters in your DNA, inherited from parents you never got to negotiate with, help decide whether mosquitoes would treat you as a feast or pass you by. And that signal is part of something far older than you, a slow evolutionary tug-of-war between our species and the deadliest creature that has ever lived, fought out across thousands of generations and written into the blood running through your veins right now. You can't fully switch it off, but you can understand it, and understanding is where everything begins. So I'll leave you with the question that started all of this. Are you the one who always gets bitten, or the one mosquitoes mysteriously ignore? Tell me in the comments, because now you know it's not luck talking, it's your DNA. And if this video taught you something new about the secret war happening in your own bloodstream, do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe so the next person can finally find out why the mosquitoes always seem to choose them.